Good morning, dears. Welcome back to Maths online class. In the last class, that is in the special class, we studied about a new type of angles, that is the corresponding angle. Okay, when a parallel line cuts by a transversal, 8 angles are formed. Among the 8 angles, there are 4 pairs of corresponding angles and their measurements, each pair of corresponding angles are equal in measure. Corresponding angles means the angles in the similar position. Okay, in today's class, we are going to study the next type of angles. So, listen very carefully. Listen their positions. That is important. So, check the positions. The names are according to their position. Listen here. In this figure, you can see a pair of parallel lines. A pair of parallel lines and their name is L1 and L2. And there is another line, that is the transversal that cuts the parallel line. Here, 2 angles are marked. What is the speciality of these 2 angles? These 2 angles, that the marked angles, are in between the parallel lines. These 2 marked angles are in between the parallel lines L1 and L2. And also, what about the transversal? How the transversal is related to these marked angles? These marked angles are on either side of the transversal, like opposite angles. Therefore, here in this figure, the marked angles are in between the parallel lines and on either side of the transversal, just like opposite angles. Here is another pair of angles. Here also we can see a pair of parallel lines L1 and L2, and there is a transversal that cuts L1 and L2, and here also 2 angles are marked. That 2 angles are also in between the parallel lines L1 and L2 and on either side of the transversal, just as opposite angles. Both the pairs in this figure and also in this figure, both the pairs are in between the parallel lines and on either side of the transversal, and looks like opposite angles but are not opposite angles. Looks like opposite angles but not opposite angles. These angles are called alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Why it is called alternate interior angles? Because these 2 pair of angles are in between the parallel lines. So it is called alternate. Look this picture. Here also a pair of parallel lines L1 and L2, and there is a transversal. Here another pairs of angles are marked. What about these angles? These 2 angles are on the outside of the parallel lines. One is on the outside of L1 and the other is the outside of L2, and on either side of the transversal, and looks like opposite angles. Here both the angles, there is pair of angles are on the outside of the linear parallel lines and on either side of the transversal, just as opposite angles. Here also another pair, that is on outside L1 and L2, outside the parallel line L1 and L2, and on either side of the transversal, just as opposite angles, we can see a pair of angles. Here What is the speciality of these angles? Both the pair of angles are on the outside of the parallel lines L1 and L2 and on either side of the transversal, and it is just like that, or it is looks like opposite angles but are not opposite angles. If these angles are on the outside of the parallel lines, therefore it is called alternate exterior angles. Exterior means outside angle. Alternate exterior angles. So once again, the angles, pair of angles lies in between the parallel lines and on either side of the transversal looks like opposite angles are called alternate interior angles, and a pair of angles lies on the outside of the parallel lines and on either side of the transversal looks like an opposite angles are called alternate exterior angles. Each pair of angles on the outside and inside of parallel lines are commonly called alternate angles. These angles, each pair of angles, there are 4 pairs of angles. Each pair of angles on the outside and inside of parallel lines and on either side of the transversal are as opposite are commonly called interior angles. If these pairs are on the inside of parallel lines, it is called alternate interior angles, and it is both the angles are on the outside of the parallel line, then the angles are called alternate exterior angles. Commonly they are called alternate angles. The words alternate exterior and alternate interior are not in the textbook. Inside the parallel lines, alternate interior angles, there are 2 pairs. Outside the parallel lines, alternate exterior angles, that are 2 pairs. Hence, we can conclude, if a pair of parallel lines are cut by a transversal, 4 pairs of alternate angles are formed. Among the 4 pairs, 2 pairs of alternate interior angles and 2 pairs of alternate exterior angles. We can check their measurements. Here, L1 and L2 are a pair of parallel lines and T is the transversal. The angles are marked as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Here, angle 1, what are the alternate angles here? First, inside angles 2 and 6, 7 and 3, that are 2 pairs. Then the outside angles 1 and 5, 8 and 4, that are 2 pairs of outside angles. Then, if angle 1 is equal to 50 degree, then what about angle 7? Angle 7 is also 50 degree. Why? Angle 7 is the opposite angle of angle 1. Then, angle 1 is equal to 50 degree. Therefore, what about angle 3? That is also 50 degree. Why? Angle 1 and angle 3 are corresponding angles. Then, angle 1 equal to 50 degree and angle 8 is equal to 130 degree. Why? Angle 1 and angle 8 are linear pairs. They are supplementary. Angle 8 is 130 degree. Therefore, angle 2 is 130 degree because these 2 angles are opposite angles. Angle 2 is 130. Angle 4 is 130. Why? 2 and 4 are corresponding angles. Then, angle 8 is equal to 130. Angle 6 is also 130. Why? Both are corresponding angles. Angle 3 is equal to 50 degree. Therefore, 5 is equal to 50 degree. Both are opposite angles. So, using the points, linear pairs are supplementary, opposite angles are equal, and each pairs of corresponding angles are equal. Using these 3 points, we can easily find the other 7 angles in this picture. Which points we use? Linear pairs are supplementary. Opposite angles are equal. Each pair of corresponding angles are equal. Using these three principles, we can find the other 7 angles very easily. Then, after finding each measurement, we can see alternate angles, angle 2 and angle 6, both are 130. Angle 7 and angle 3 are another pair, both are 50. And alternate exterior, that means angle 2 equal to angle 6 is equal to 130 degree, angle 7 is equal to angle 3 is equal to 50 degree, angle 1 is equal to angle 5 is equal to 50 degree, angle 8 is equal to angle 4 is equal to 130 degree. What we can say from this? All are alternate angles and each pairs are equal in measure. So, we can conclude alternate angles are equal in measure. So, finally, we can say that if a pair of parallel lines are cut by a transversal, 4 pairs of alternate angles, 2 pairs of alternate exterior and 2 pairs of alternate interior are formed and each pairs are equal in measure. That is the second type of angle. Alternate angles. Alternate angles, each pair of alternate angles are equal in measure. Among alternate angles, 2 of 2 pairs are alternate exterior and 2 pairs are alternate interior. Alternate exterior is outside the parallel line and the alternate interior is inside the parallel line. So, listen very carefully their positions. The positions are more important. So, from the above example, here the angles are marked as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Here, what are the alternate pairs? B and F are one pair, G and C are another pair. A and E are one pair and H and D are another pair. In each pair, they are equal in measure. Then, here are 2 homeworks. In this class, I am going to explain the homework. Listen very carefully and answer what I want to write. Answer what I want to write. Then, here is a pair of parallel lines. One angle is given for you. You have to write another angles. You have to find another angles. Using the principles, linear pairs are supplementary, opposite angles are equal, corresponding angles are equal. Using these 3 principles, you can find the other 7 angles in this figure. Then, write each pair of alternate angles in this figure. First, write each pair of alternate angles and then write their measurements. Okay, here also the same question. You must have find out the other 7 angles from 2 to 8 using the 3 principles. After finding the 7 angles, then first you group the group of alternate angles and then write their measurements. This homework is for to find you must have to find the position of alternate angles. Alternate angles are alternate interior and alternate exterior. Then, alphabet angles. Here is a letter N and another letter M. And there are some angles are marked. Look here. In the letter N, extend these 2 lines. Extend these 2 lines. Then look like this. These are a pair of parallel lines and this is the transversal. The marked angles are in between the parallel lines and on either side of the transversal. Therefore, these angles are alternate interior angles. In the letter M, draw a line like this and extend both these lines. Then first consider these two lines. These are parallel lines and this is the transversal. Therefore, these angles are alternate angles. Then consider these two lines. These are parallel lines and this is the transversal.